All right, good morning. We are going to be learning how to do a profile toolpath today, which will cut around the edges or the outside of our letters so that they'll actually cut through the material, and then we can place them on a different piece to mount them. So this has a lot of applications. So we're going to start simple with just some letters. So we're going to create a new file, and we're going to set up our project to be 8 inches width, 3 inches in height, and the thickness, we're actually going to change that to 0.5, which is a half an inch, and that's what our material will start as, is half-inch thick. And we're going to make our XY the center, and then we're going to hit OK. So for this one, we're going to draw a text box, and we are going to put in NBHS, and you can see it comes up with this impact font, it's called. Oops, NBHS. So this is just, I like it because it's a thicker font, so when we're cutting around the letters, it'll make it a little bit easier for the machine to go through it. If you select something that's a little too complex, like some of these more cursive style fonts probably wouldn't work the best. Let me see, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that would be tough because the letters are going to end up being so thin that the material will probably end up breaking before it even comes off the machine. So I'd highly recommend using something that's a little more like this. These letters are still a little thin. I think I'm going to default here to impact, but you're welcome to play around with it, and I could take a look at it and let you know what I think. So we're going to keep it looking like that. Nice little school pride sign. And then we're going to go over to transform objects here, and we're going to hit align selected objects. So let's move that, make sure it's centered on our material. You can see I left a little room on the top and bottom, so when we put our clamps on, we have enough room on the corner, so it's not right up to the edge. So make sure you do leave yourself some room there. We're going to close this, and now we're going to set up our toolpath. So we'll go over here to toolpaths. I'm going to pin that. And now I'm going to select this toolpath operation, which is profile. And you'll see here we have the start depth of 0.0, meaning it's going to start right at the surface of the wood. And then for our overall cut depth, we want to make that a little bit bigger, or I should say deeper than the material. So our material is 0.5, so we're going to say we want to cut to 0.55 to make sure that it gets all the way through. Right now my tool is set to end mill 1/4 inch. I'm going to change that to 1/8 of an inch, so we're going to go with a little smaller of a bit. End mill 1/8, and then your settings should match what you see on the screen, so if they do not, please pause. Just check those numbers for our feeds and our speeds, and we're going to hit select. All right, so now you can see it has number of passes 5. It auto selects that so that it doesn't cut too much material at once. So this means it's going to go around each letter 5 times to get to the final depth. And then we are going to actually add tabs since we're cutting through the material, or we're cutting the letters fully through the wood. We want to add tabs so that when the machine makes that final pass, the letter doesn't shift in its place and then get jammed or broken or fly out at us. So we're going to hit add tabs, and then we're going to hit let's see, length 0.25, thickness 0.25. We can make that a little thinner. Let's leave them 1/4 inch long, and let's change our thickness to 0.15. So make sure you do that. We're going to hit edit tabs, and then we're going to see a constant number of 2 is probably good, meaning it's going to put 2 tabs per letter to hold it in place. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. We're going to avoid corners, hit add tabs. It's going to, now at this point it's saying that you can't change the text once you add the tabs because it's converting them to curves. So as long as you're okay with the way it looks, you could just hit yes. And now you can see all these tabs in here. So what that means is it's going to leave that little piece of wood in between our letters and on the edges here so that when it makes the final pass, it'll skip a little bit of a spot where each of these T's are so that the letter stays secure to the surrounding material. So just make sure your tabs look like they're in a good place. Like this one right here, we might want to move that so it's not so close to this little curve, and that way it'll be easier to kind of sand or smooth out. So I'm going to move it to the outside edges of our letters here and here, and the rest of these look pretty good. So now I'm just going to hit close. Oh, I'm sorry, let's hit add tabs. Oh, I guess you don't have to hit that again. So we'll just move these back to where we had them, and then hit close. So here we go. The tabs are still there. Let's go down to the bottom here and calculate our toolpath. It's warning you that we are cutting through the material, so we'll have to make sure we put a sacrificial layer below it, or a spoil board, so that it doesn't cut into the aluminum table. Hit OK, and that looks pretty good. So let's take a preview here. Preview, select the toolpath, and you can see if you rotate a little, all the pieces look like they're going to have something secure to hold them in place. After we remove this from the machine and it looks like this, we'll go over to either a scroll saw or a band saw and just trim these and sand those so that they're nice and clean. So now we're going to hit close here, and then at this point, before we make the toolpath to our flash drive, let's just remember to save this so that it's on our computer. So save it to your desktop, that way it's easy to find. NBHS toolpath, and let's say profile, so we remember which type of toolpath it is. Hit save. So now it's saved the computer. So now let's go ahead and select it, and we're going to press this icon to save the toolpath. Make sure you have CNC Shark -USB arcs inch tap. Let's hit save toolpath, and this is the part where you would insert your flash drive and then scroll down to find it over here. I don't have a flash drive on me, but this is where that would appear. It's NFame or the D drive, and then just you could use the same, maybe put your name in here, and then just put whatever you put for the letters. If it's NBHS profile. All right, and then hit save, and you can eject your flash drive, and we're good to go.